So, welcome once again. In today's lecture, we are going to be talking about digital signature. So, our today's agenda is something like this. So, first of all, we will try to understand what is a digital signature, and then we will try to understand how we can achieve that in our digital domain, and then finally we will give a brief idea of how digital signature can be achieved by RSA method. But in that case, we are not going to be talking about RSA encryption system. We will assume that those who are watching this video, they are aware of RSA encryption system, and if you are not, then please have some idea about RSA encryption system before watching this video. So, a little bit of illustration of what is a signature first. Suppose there is a notice on the notice board of a college that your exam is rescheduled on some other day, and it is coming from your principal. The question is whether you are going to believe it or not. It depends wholly on the signature part. So, if your principal has put his or her signature, then it is an authentic document. Otherwise, if somebody circulates some printed paper that your exam is rescheduled, probably you are not going to believe it, because there is no authenticity. So, signature has to do something with the authenticity. So, here are some crucial points about signature. So, the first one is authenticity, whether the message which is coming to me, it is coming from the authentic person or the desired person or not. That is the first point. Then the second purpose of the signature is non-repudiation. That means you cannot deny. For example, this has been initiated by your principal, and later because of some reason, if it stands that this reschedule has been made wrongly, then your principal cannot deny that I didn't initiate. Why? Because his or her signature is there. So, whatever is written here, the signature says that the principal is responsible for this entire text. So, later he or she cannot deny. So, the denial is an important part of signature. So, whenever a valid signature is there, the person who has put the signature, he or she cannot deny. So, authenticity is one point, denial of service or non-repudiation is another important thing. The third one is integrity, whether it has been modified in transit. So, suppose somebody has written a letter and has put his or her signature. So, whenever it is in transit, so somebody is carrying this to you, and in due course he has changed this thing, this content. So, this signature also incorporates that. I will come to that point in a moment, but you have to remember that this document itself is not a secret document. The document is not secret. There is nothing about encryption or secrecy. So, whenever the principal has initiated one such circular, he or she will try to circulate it to as many students as possible, and this content is open. So, there is nothing secret in this content. The whole question is whether it is coming from the respective person or not, and there comes this question or the notion of the signature, which comes from this authenticity, whether it is coming from the desired person or the authentic person or not. Now, a little bit of idea about integrity. So, no tampering of data is allowed. So, what do we mean by tampering of data? For example, if you see that your message or the notice which is coming from your principal is something like this, some text which has been written and then has been penned through, and then a next some other date has been written, probably you will doubt that there is something wrong. So what happens normally, if somebody has made some mistake, then has given something different, so the same person who is putting his signature here, he puts his or her signature here also, just to indicate that this has been made by me. And for that reason, in case of banks, they do not allow any kind of overwriting, because it may be that somebody has put some amount on the check, and whenever some other person is bringing that check to the bank, he may change the amount. So that's why overwriting and all other things are not allowed. So if you don't allow overwriting, that means you are allowing actually integrity, or you are achieving integrity. So each and every character which has been written here should be in the same ink, no overwriting, no such type of making corrections or something like that. So that means you are achieving the integrity. Now another thing you have to understand, that the consent is signature means there is a consent. What does it mean? So I am putting my signature means I have gone through whole lot of things and I am responsible for whatever is written here. So this is actually my statement. These statements are my statements. So that is what these signatures say. But this authority or this consent is not total. What does that mean? This signature only says that whatever is written in this paper, I am responsible for that. This signature says whatever is written here, I am responsible for that. But if somebody comes with a signature and some other document where there is no signature, so there are two different things. One is a plain text, another is in another paper there is a signature. So you cannot say that this is the signature and this is the text, that means this signature is applied to this text. No. So you have to understand, and this is crucial for signature, that putting a signature on a paper means I am responsible for whatever is written in this paper. So this signature does not necessarily imply that I have given consent on this one, or this signature does not necessarily imply that I have given consent on this document. So this document's consent is this signature, and this document's consent is this signature, and in this document there is no consent. That means even if you come up with some other paper with some signature, but nobody will relate this one with this signature, and nobody is going to believe, okay, this is coming from the principal and that is the principal signature in some other page. That means this document has, so this signature says that the principal has given the consent, or principal has put the signature on this paper. So that is not going to happen. So it is not total, but it is limited and confined to that particular information for which the signature has been made. So why it serves the purpose? So why the signature serves its purpose? It is because the signature is impossible or hard to produce or copy for others, but it is easy for the owner to produce. That means it is a kind of one way function for the owner or the respective person. For example, the principal in our example, he or she can produce the signature very easily because it is his or her signature, but for the other persons, this production of this signature or the copy of the signature is very hard. So that's why all these notions are coming. The idea is, if there is a signature, then it has been done by the owner or the respective person. It has not been done by any other person. Now what has to be done after getting the message, or suppose you have got a notice here with the signature of the principal. The thing that we have to do is we have to verify the signature, and there comes the problem. In our real world, this verification of a signature we normally do not do any kind of verification, or there is no such mechanism for verifying the signature, at least in general, because in most of the cases we do not have expertise, as well as we really do not know what is the original signature. For example, recall, even if you know the signature of your principal, in your school examination or your board examination mark sheet, some signature is there from the respective person. So, how can you say that the signature has been made by the original person? Because we really do not know what is the original person's signature looks like. How does it look? So, that is a problem in case of our real world, but in case of real world also there are other type of mechanisms, some sort of social pressures and other type of mechanisms by which generally it is hard to make a copy of the signature of the respective person. But the thing is that we really do not verify whether the signature that has been made by the respective or the correct person or not. We do not verify, we take it for granted. So, what we want to achieve in a nutshell in case of our digital signature is, in our digital domain we would like to have an authenticity, we would like to have a kind of non-repudiation, we would like to have a kind of integrity, that means nobody can modify the content in transit. So, whenever somebody is bringing the letter from one place to the other, you cannot modify, and it is going to be something like sign and verification model that we would like to achieve. So, these are the three things and also these four things which is an integral part of this digital signature, but normally we do not practice it in our real life. But let us see whether we can achieve this in our digital domain or not. But if we can achieve these three things effectively, then we can say that yes, in our digital domain also we have achieved one digital signature. Now, come down to digital signature. How can we achieve a digital signature? Suppose our principal has made a signature here. Now, can we take a copy or image of this one and can take that as a digital signature, because that is also a digital data? Will this work? So, I am just going to take a copy of this part of the image and I am just going to use this same image as the digital signature. Will this work? The answer is essentially no. No. Why? It is because this digital signature is, whenever it is an image, it is nothing but some sort of 0 and 1 and 0 and 1 and 0 and 1 and something like this. Now, if you are allowed to make a copy of that, you can exactly produce this image. That means whether it is owner or it is any other person, he or she can reproduce the same image. For example, if you have this PPT with you, then you can simply take the image of this signature and then you can reproduce the signature of your own. Now, recall, in our signature case we have stated that it is very hard for the other to make a copy or to make a forgery. So, that means such type of image copy and image paste is not going to work, because in that case this signature is exactly an identical copies of zeros and ones. So, whenever I am allowing somebody to put my image somewhere in the text, so anybody can reproduce that image and can put that in some document and can say that has been made by me. So, in that way we cannot really achieve. So, how can we achieve it? Recall, the main feature of real life signature is every signature of a person should be identical. Recall, in case of your bank, what does a bank do? Whenever you are putting your signature on a check, bank takes that check and the banker opens the computer and matches the signatures, whatever signature you have made on the check and whatever signature you have given to them at the time of opening of the book. So if these two signatures are identical, then you are this person. But that is the problem here in case of digital world, because if they are identical, that means you are making the same copy every time. It is going to be easy for others also. So you will simply take the image and you are just going to reproduce it. So the main difference in case of real life signature and the digital signature is, in case of real life signature it should be identical every time, but in case of digital world it should be different in every time. So that is the crazy thing that we are going to be talking about. So if you think that it is crazy, it is not actually. That is the solution. In fact, that is the only solution. Why? Recall, how can I achieve that? Suppose we have a message, some principal wants to give some circular or notice. So that is the message. So if we can produce some number based on the message, so based on message we are producing some number. So signature is not just a signature, signature is a function of the message. So what will happen then? For each and every message the signature will be different, and that is based on the message itself. And secondly, and which only the respective person can produce and nobody else. What does that mean? That means if there is a function, the function is such that for each and every message it is going to give me some number, and this function is such that only I can come up to that particular number for this message and nobody else. And this suggests that it is a function which takes two arguments, one is a message and a key which I only know. That is what is called a signature. So a signature means a message. Suppose a message is x, y, z. So there is a function. So function is known to everybody. So what this x, y, z is going to produce, it depends on key. So if principal 1 has a key which is called q1, it is going to give you some number s1. If the same x, y, z is going to be produced by some other principal, her key is key2, then it is going to give you some other number. So this number is unique as far as this message and key is unique. So given the message and given the key, the output is unique. But if you change the message, output will be different or signature will be different. If you change the key for the same message, signature will be different. That is the fundamental thing that we are going to be talking about. So now let us take a more closer look. Now if we can achieve such type of things, then what will happen? So signature is different for different messages. So what does this mean? It means that copy or forgery is impossible or irrelevant, because if you produce some number for a particular message, then you cannot use that number for other message, because in case of the other message some other number will be produced. So it is actually impossible or irrelevant in that case. It has no meaning. So secondly, signature is based on message. That means the integrity can also be achieved. Why? Because if your message is x, y, z and it is producing s1, so if you would like to make x, k, z, you would like to change something, so it is not going to produce s1 anymore, it is going to produce something different. So if you make a small change in your original text or message, so the signature is going to be different. So that means integrity is also there. The third one is only I can produce. Why? Because there is a key which I know. So I can only produce. That means authentication is also there. And automatically whenever I can produce, this non-repudiation is there. If I can only produce this thing and that has been produced, means I am responsible, I cannot deny. So, in digital domain, the signature is not put on the text. The signature and the text are completely two separate entities, something like some message and some signature. So, these are completely two different entities, maybe two different files. So, one file is a simple text file which is your message, another file stores the number which has been generated from this message with the help of the function and the personal key. So, now come to this point that given this message and this signature, now there is a problem. The problem is how am I supposed to verify this? So, the whole point is now is how am I supposed to verify, and if we can have a verification mechanism, this problem of digital signature can be solved. Now, let us take a closer look. So, let us take a closer look to this RSA. Recall, in case of RSA, suppose Bob has a public key for encryption. We are talking about RSA encryption and we are assuming that you know what is RSA. So, Bob has a public key for encryption, means Bob's public key, which is N and E, it is known to everybody. So, Alice knows what is Bob's public key. So, it is public modulus which is N and public exponent which is equal to E. So, Alice knows this thing and Bob knows what is this one and what is his secret component which is equal to D. Now, in this case, what is the process? His process is that Bob has nothing to do, Bob cannot initiate anything. So, anybody who wants to send a message to Bob will take a message and will encrypt with this N and E and will generate the cipher. He will send the cipher to Bob. Bob will decrypt with the help of his N and D and will get back the message. That is the setup of RSA. Now, if we flip this thing, say for example, instead of making E and N public, what will happen if Bob makes N and D public and keeps this E as secret? So, this is going to be the setup now. So, now Bob has made this one E or the encryption exponent as secret and made decryption exponent as public, and take the direction of this message flow. Suppose Bob has something to say. So, what Bob is doing, essentially Bob is having a message, Bob is encrypting and Bob is generating the ciphertext, Bob is sending it. Who can then generate or regenerate the message from the ciphertext by decryption process? It is Alice. Not only Alice, anybody who knows Bob's public key, and probably the entire world, because everybody knows Bob's this one N and D, because Bob has made this N and D as public. So, it is expected that not only Alice, some bad guy, some good persons, everybody knows what is Bob's public exponent which is N and D, but Bob only knows this E. So, Bob can encrypt, all other persons can decrypt. Now, here is the important thing. If this encrypted message which is the cipher, along with this Bob also makes this message public, then what will happen? That anybody like Alice can decrypt the ciphertext and can get back the message. And what is the message? Message has been sent publicly, so he can check it out or she can check it out. This message is equal to the message that has been sent by Bob. So, the whole idea here is, suppose Bob has a message or has a notice. So, this is the notice. So, Bob will make this notice public and Bob will make this cipher which is based on this notice also public. So this is we will call a digital signature. Signature on what? Signature on this message. So this message is public and this cipher is also public. This cipher is also public. So what will happen? So everybody knows that Bob's public key is N and D. So immediately if somebody wants to verify, then she will take this cipher text and will make cipher text to the power D modulo N and will get back some message M, and she will check whether this M and this M they are equal or not. If they are equal, then this is the signature made on this message. Well, now the quick fact is, can this signature be generated by any other person? The answer is simply no, because whenever you have M, you cannot really directly come to C unless you really do not know what this E is, because this M and E is going to give us ciphertext C. So this C has been given means it has been generated by a person who knows the E or the encryption exponent. And who knows this encryption exponent? That is only Bob knows this encryption exponent, because Bob has made this encryption exponent as private and the decryption exponent as public. So it is just the other way around. Instead of some other person will encrypt and will send to Bob, so digital signature through RSA means it is the same RSA encryption, but in this case Bob, who is the owner of the signature, will encrypt and he will send the encrypted text as well as the message, and that is the idea of digital signature using RSA. So in case of RSA digital signature and all other asymmetric key or public key, digital signature is nothing but a ciphertext which is based on the message and a key which others cannot reproduce but other can verify easily. Okay. So let us take a closer look. Who can generate the cipher? Bob only, because he knows the encryption exponent. So the authentication, so as the signature is there, that means it is coming from Bob. Can anybody generate the cipher from the message? Any other person? No. In this case also Bob only. So that's why Bob cannot deny. So non-repudiation can also be achieved. Is there any integrity? The answer is yes. If the message is changed, then the decrypted message, say for example this ciphertext somebody has changed in transit. So what will happen? Suppose it has become C1. So C1 to the power D modulo M modulo N is not going to produce the message, because C to the power D is going to produce this message, not some other ciphertext. So if you change the ciphertext a bit, then it is not going to be equal with this message, because message is also made public. And recall that there is nothing hidden, it is not encrypted. The content is completely open. It is only the question of whether it is coming from the right person or not. So the authenticity is the problem. So the message is also open. So if you change the ciphertext a bit, so the ciphertext to the power D is not going to generate the original message which has been made public. Okay. Suppose you have a mark sheet and there is a digital signature on that mark sheet that has been made by your university. So you have both these things. So if you tamper this mark sheet file, then mark sheet file, so this signature to the power D is not going to give you this mark sheet. But by the way, mark sheet is simply a file in that case. It is not a printed mark sheet, it is a soft copy. So this signature to the power D is not going to change this mark sheet. If you tamper somewhere, if you made some changes here, So, signature to the power D is not going to give you this file, and this marksheet signature has been generated by the corresponding authority, means only authority can do this thing, because you can verify that this to the power D of the authority is going to give you this message back. Whether the forgery or the copy is possible? No, because all signatures are different. So, one signature if you get, you cannot put it somewhere else. So, that is you cannot really copy it. And the fourth one, which is not there in our real life signature or real world signature, whether the verification is possible? Yes, this verification is possible. So, we can achieve all the things of so called real world signature plus the verification, which is not there in that sense in most of the cases. So, that we can also achieve. One final note before we conclude is that in case of RSA, recall these D and E are same, at least in the sense that they are inverse of one another. Same means they are not equal. So, D is essentially not equal to E, but essentially D into E is going to give you 1 mod of phi n. So, in that sense, it does not make any sense whether you choose this D as the private component, E as the public, or E as the private component and D as the public. So, Bob can simply retain his secret component and start doing this signature kind of a business with this D, and Alice can verify with her E or encryption component also. That is perfectly all right, because there is nothing special about this D and E. So, always you have to take this E as the encryption component, does not make any sense. So, you can take message to the power D also, and in our verification end ciphertext to the power E also is going to work perfectly. So, that is the thing. So, for our understanding, we have changed this D and E and their roles, but you can use the same sort of things. For example, if Bob retains his D, which is the decryption exponent, and makes his E, which is the encryption exponent, as public, then he can use the same setup for digital signature. So, in that case, he will make message to the power decryption exponent, and the others or rest of the world will check ciphertext to the power encryption exponent. That is the idea. With this, I would like to conclude. Thank you.